I'm going to try something different and be on this side, because most of the time I'm on that side. But, shopping. Yes, this is a record haul. It's not quite as big as some of my past ones, but I've accumulated quite a bit over the past couple of months, and I figured it's time to talk about them. So let's start diving into some of the new records I've picked up over the past couple of months. Now, as always, I like to start off with some of the used stuff. And first up, I went to a more classical used record store. So the first couple of ones are going to be classical, and we'll start off with this guy here. I'm going to scoot over just a little bit more so that I'm taking up... There we go. So this is Stravinsky's The Firebird. I think I have 2 or 3 renditions of The Firebird. I love Stravinsky. I love his take. But this is a Toronto Symphony Orchestra. Whenever I see a Toronto Symphony Orchestra, I'm like, I gotta support the boys. Now this is the 1910 version, the original. I'm not 100% sure when this one itself was recorded and pressed. 1982. So yeah, it's quite tasty. I really like where this one goes. And keeping with Stravinsky, I've got Igor Stravinsky, the rare recordings of the composer as paintist. Got 4 tracks on there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce those. And I think this kind of came out right after Stravinsky passed away, because it says the death of Stravinsky means the final disappearance of a musical generation which gave music its basic shock at the beginning of the century, and which brought about the real departure from the Romantics. That's what I come for when it comes to Stravinsky, is the different. Coming into more accessible stuff, relatively speaking, right? We've got Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture and Ravel's those ones. What is it? Broglio and Jose Schortenberg's. This is just a fun track. I always love the 1812 Overture. It reminds me of the meme of how many cannons is too many cannons for an orchestra. And they're like, one is too many. So I can have more than one. Oh my gosh, Stravinsky, please. And then coming into probably one of the most famous works of any classical piece, The Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Really like Vivaldi. Really love The Four Seasons. I mean, it's quintessential in terms of classical pieces. How can you not have it in your collection? I also have sonatas for lute and harpsichord. I love harpsichord. I love the harpsichord. It's underplayed. And Julian Bream and George Malcolm, they're masters of their craft. I love these two guys. They do Bach and they do Vivaldi. Very good stuff. Really enjoy this one. Okay, so coming into some Canadian work, because I always like to have Canadian pieces here. I've got 2 albums from Cano. Now, I was actually very recently introduced to Cano. So I've got this one. I see that the title of the album is down there, but I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that in French. My French is horrible. And then I also have this Cano. Really enjoy this stuff. It reminds me of Harmonium, but not quite as symphonic, a little bit more folky. And I mean, there's the band there. There's quite a number of them. Great French-Canadian. If you're looking for a good French-Canadian outfit, definitely check out Cano. I think it's Cano. Cano? Anyway, really enjoying their works and really enjoying getting into that. In my pursuit of getting as many Rush albums as I can, I finally picked up Permanent Waves after I did the live stream of it. Really fell in love with this album. Really enjoyed it. I'm just loving it on vinyl. Found this for like $3 and I couldn't say no. So very slowly working my way through the Rush discography, getting prepared for a future video. And I'm really enjoying this one. It has some really good bangers on it. Okay, so those are all the used ones. I've got 4 new releases. First up, Max Richter's The Blue Notebooks. It's the re-release of The Blue Notebook. It has the quintessential Max Richter on the nature of daylight. There's a couple mixes on here of that song. I think it's on here 3 times. Yeah. I also really love Shadow Journal, the 18-minute piece on here. And now that we're coming closer into fall and autumn, Max is just... He captures that autumn feeling very well, and he does so very well on this. I like some of the re-recordings on here. I think it could have been structured a little bit better, but still, love this album. Love the original work. Then, if you guys watched my autumn albums, you'll see that I had Mumford & Sons. This is their first album of Sigh No More. I'm not as familiar with Sigh No More as I am with Babel. Babel is the album that really got me into Mumford & Sons. So I decided to pick up Sigh No More, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving how somber and soft it is in comparison. It's not quite as bombastic as Babel. Next up was one of my favorite albums this year, and It's going to be a hard year-end review of which album is going to be my favorite, but I had to pick up The Other Shore by Murder by Death. If you haven't heard this album by now, please, please do so. This album moves me no matter how many times I listen to it. It is just so beautiful and so compelling. Like, you can't not love this album when you listen to it. I've already recruited so many people after listening to this album because it hits me so hard every time. So, love this one. It's a space western. I love the concept of it. The more I listen to it, the more I get out of it. Please listen to this album. It needs more dues. I have Fido's latest album of Infernal on order. I'm really hoping that it comes in soon. I understand that there's a few issues with the pressing, so I don't mind waiting a little bit longer, but in the interim, I finally picked up Snowtorch. So Snowtorch, I love Snowtorch, and I love that whole aspect here. I love the gatefold. Let's open that up. And hearing it on vinyl is just such a thrill for me, because I never thought that I would hear Fido on an LP, like a full-length vinyl. It brings me back to when it first was released, and it hits me so great every single time I listen to it. Great, great find. Yes, I had to go on Amazon for that, but I do not regret a second of that. I always like to end on a banger. I always like to end on a high note, and I couldn't think of a better way to end than on Dream Theater's Change of Season. A Change of Season is just a fantastic, fantastic song, and I love the little EP that's at the end. We've got a whole bunch of covers from them, like Funeral from a Friend, Perfect Strangers. We've got The Rover, Achilles' Last Stand. The song remains the same, so the Led Zeppelin medley, and then the big medley of In the Flesh, Carry On My Wayward Son, Bohemian Rhapsody, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', Cruise Control, and Turn It On Again. And then, of course, we have the big song of Change of Season. And, I mean, right now, this album means a lot to me just because of how many changes my own personal life is going through right now. So, it's so interesting that this album not only is a touchstone of keeping me grounded, but it's tackling so many of the concepts that I'm going through right now that it's just like the perfect album for me right now. And I love the fact that when I went into the record store a couple weeks ago, it was just sitting there practically waiting for me. And I saw that and I'm like, this is just a sign. This is just a sign that I have to pick it up. So very glad that I did it. Sounds so good on vinyl. It's a reissued. Like, I think it came out this year. Yeah, originally pressed in 1995, re-released for 2018. So yeah, it was a perfect time for me. Just love it. So those are all the albums that I picked up over the last couple of months. Really hoping to find Fido's Snowtorch. Hopefully that will be in very, very soon. What did you guys think of the whole haul? What was your favorite? What was your most surprising? What albums have you been picking up over the past couple of weeks? Let me know of all that by commenting down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.